Welcome in. So you sent over some really interesting stuff this week, all about, well, an electric car that definitely doesn't want to just blend in.
Oh, definitely not. We're looking at the DS number 4 E-Tense.
Right, the DS-04, and specifically the all-electric E-Tense version.
Exactly. And the whole mission here, it seems, is for DS Automobiles, this pretty new, quite posh French brand to sort of muscle its way into that premium space.
The space usually dominated by, the German giants, BMW, Mercedes.
Precisely. And they're doing it with, well, a lot of style and some quite unique tech choices.
Okay, so this DS number 4, it's basically a big update to the old DS4, right? New name, new look.
Yeah, heavily upgraded. And crucially, you can now get it as a full EV, the E-Tense, alongside the hybrid options they already had.
And the main selling point reading through this, it just screams, look at me. The appearance is key.
It absolutely is. That's the immediate hook, isn't it? It's designed very deliberately to avoid being just another gray box.
Yeah, that's gray mass of identikit EVs, as one source put it.
Yeah, exactly. It's going for that sort of concept car vibe on the road, which you don't often see at this price point or in this segment.
Okay, let's dive into the looks then, because, well, that seems to be DS's whole game plan here.
It really is. The sources talk about chiseled French couture bodywork. It's got this aggressive stance, but still looks quite elegant.
And that light signature.
Yeah.
Very distinctive. You see it coming.
That glitzy light signature is a big part of their brand identity now. The front end is quite dramatic animated lights, a glowing badge.
Yeah, apparently inspired by one of their concept cars, the E-Tense Performance.
That's the one. It gives it a really assertive look, but maybe not, overly aggressive, just confident.
And they play with the proportions too, don't they? It's, what, 4.4 meters long?
Yeah, 4.40 long, 1.87 wide, 1.49 high. Pretty standard dimensions for the class.
But the wheels, they stick massive 19 or even 20-inch wheels on it.
Oh, yeah. That really fills the arches, gives it that athletic, kind of slender profile despite the height. It's all part of pushing that style-first message.
Definitely makes it look purposeful. That aggressive stance is clearly meant to catch your eye if you want some, well, different prestige, but French prestige.
And if the outside is French couture, the inside, that's where they really line into the haute couture idea.
Right, this is where it gets interesting. Well, the Germans often go for that minimalist, maybe slightly cold, monochrome look.
DS just throws that out the window. You're looking at some seriously luxurious materials. Alcantara, or this really rich Napa leather, Criollo brown, they call it.
Frill brown Napa, okay. Sounds fancy.
It looks it. And then they add real metal accents, like bronze on the dash and actual wood trim brown ashwood.
Plus those little DS details, like that pearl stitching effect.
Exactly. And all adds up to this feeling of proper plushness, exclusivity. It genuinely feels quite premium inside, maybe more than you'd expect for the price.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? The sources did flag up some issues. Sometimes that French flair gets in the way of, well, common sense.
Huh, yeah, you could say that. The ergonomics aren't perfect. While the materials feel great, the layout has some flaws.
Like what specifically?
Some of the buttons on the center console are noted as being quite small and apparently hard to read quickly when you're driving. Fiddly.
Okay, form over function slightly there.
Yeah.
And wait, the sunroof. I remember reading about this. It sounds odd.
Oh, the sunroof, yeah. In a car packed with futuristic tech, this high luxury vibe, they put in what the sources called an old school sunroof. Meaning it has a manual pull-across blind, like you physically have to slide it shut yourself.
Seriously, in this day and age, when you've got panoramic roofs and electrochromic glass everywhere else.
I know, it feels almost comically analog. It's like they blew the budget on the fancy leather and the ChatGPT integration and then found a box of sunroof blinds from, like, 1998 in the warehouse.
It's such a strange contrast. Ultra-modern meets quaintly mechanical. A reminder that even high fashion has its practical limits, I guess.
Moving on to the tech inside, though, they do have some smart stuff. The driver gets a 10.25-inch digital display.
Okay, maybe a little on the small side compared to some rivals.
Potentially, yeah. But the main screen is a decent 10-inch touchscreen in the center, runs their DS Iris system, which is apparently quite slick.
But the real showstopper, the tech piece everyone seemed impressed by, was the head-up display. The HUD.
Ah, yes, the augmented reality style one. This is pretty cool. It projects key info speed, nav instructions, seemingly about 4 meters ahead of the car, onto the road.
So it looks like it's floating out there.
Pretty much. And the verdict was it works brilliantly, really helps keep your eyes on the road, integrates the information very naturally.
Sounds genuinely useful, not just a gimmick. But Here we go again. There was a catch, wasn't there? Something about reflections.
Uh-huh. The actual physical housing for the projector unit up on the dashboard, apparently in bright sunlight, it can catch the light and reflect awkwardly onto the windscreen.
Oh, that's annoying. So you've got this amazing futuristic display, sometimes hampered by a simple bit of shiny plastic.
It does seem like a bit of an oversight, doesn't it? Aiming for the stars, but tripping over the launch pad wiring. Still, DS didn't stop there with the tech wizardry.
No, which brings us to probably the most talked about feature in the cabin,
Yeah.
the ChatGPT integration.
Right. Built-in ChatGPT voice assistance. If you get the Palace Plus trim or higher, you just say, "Okay, Iris," and you can ask it stuff.
And is it actually useful or just a novelty?
The sources suggested it was genuinely quite handy. Not just for the usual stuff like finding places, but you can ask it more complex things, get local info, historical facts. Adds a bit of fun and context, apparently.
Okay, that is quite unique. Beyond the flashy stuff, though, is the practical tech solid.
Seems to be. The E-Tense model gets V2L vehicle to load.
Ah, so you can plug things into the car, power external devices from the battery.
Exactly. Laptops, lights, coffee machine at a picnic, you know. Increasingly common, but good to see it here.
And safety tech.
Pretty comprehensive. You get DS Drive Assist 2.0. That's level 2 semi-autonomous driving.
So adaptive cruise, lane keeping. Does it do lane changes?
Yep, semi-autonomous lane changes and overtaking assistance on motorways. That's definitely a premium level feature.
What about connectivity? Apps, remote controls?
All there. The Connect One pack handles the basics, emergency calls, remote checks via an app, setting the climate control before you get in. Standard EV stuff now.
And Connect Plus.
That adds the smarter EV routing, so it plans your long journeys, factoring in charging stops based on traffic, terrain, and your battery level.
Makes life easier. Any future plans mentioned?
Yeah, they're aiming to roll out a plug-and-charge service by 2026. The idea is the car communicates directly with compatible chargers, handles the billing automatically, no need for cards or apps at the charge point itself.
Ah, that would be a nice improvement. Anything to make charging less hassle is good.
Okay, let's talk nuts and bolts. The E-Tense powertrain. What are we looking at?
It's got a 58.3 kilowatt battery. That's the usable capacity. Powers a single motor driving the front wheels.
And power output.
It's rated at 213 brake horsepower with 343 newton meters of torque.
Right. So performance-wise, what did the sources say?
Respectable, but not exactly thrilling. 0 to 62 mph is around 8.0 seconds. The reports were clear. It's brisk, but never sporty.
Which fits the image, really. It's more about smooth, sophisticated progress than tearing up the tarmac.
Exactly. Now, range. This is always the big one for EVs, the official WLTP number.
Up to 450 kilometers, which translates to about 279 miles maximum on the combined cycle.
Okay, that sounds competitive on paper. But the real-world figure?
Yeah, this is where it's maybe less impressive. Based on the testing and the sources, you should probably expect around 230 miles in typical mixed driving.
230 miles. That's
okay.
But definitely middling these days, isn't it? Especially when some new arrivals are pushing towards or even past 300 miles real world.
It is a potential limitation, yeah. It puts it firmly in the middle of the pack for range.
What about charging speed? Can it replenish that battery quickly?
It's decent. It can handle DC fast charging up to 120 kilowatts.
Okay, 120 kilowatt peak. So the typical motorway charge, say 20% to 80%.
You're looking at around 30 to 31 minutes, which is perfectly acceptable. Not class-leading, but fine for a quick top-up on a longer trip.
Right. Now, the driving experience itself, this is where things got a bit complicated, reading the reports, especially regarding comfort.
Yes, the ride quality. This is potentially the main drawback, and kind of ironic given DS bangs the drum about comfort all the time. It's built on the EMP2 platform.
Which is Stellantis' multi-energy platform, right? Used for petrol, diesel, hybrid, and EVs.
Exactly. And the sources highlighted a difference between primary and secondary ride. Should probably explain that.
Good idea. Primary ride is how it handles the big bumps. Speed humps, big dips in the road.
Correct. And apparently the DS N4 is pretty good at that. Soaks up the larger stuff reasonably well.
But the secondary ride, that's the small fiddly stuff. Patchy surfaces, broken tarmac, cobblestones.
That's the one. And this is where the test drives, particularly on some cobbled streets in Porto, apparently revealed a weakness.
It was described as firm and busy.
That's the key criticism. The secondary ride is quite firm. You feel a lot of those smaller imperfections through the cabin. It makes the ride feel constantly active or busy over less than perfect roads.
Why would that be? Especially for a brand focused on comfort.
It likely comes back to that EMP2 platform. It wasn't originally designed purely for heavy EV batteries, so to cope with the extra weight of the battery pack down low, the engineers probably had to significantly stiffen up the suspension springs and dampers.
Ah, right, to control the weight and maintain handling composure.
Exactly. But the trade-off is that harshness over smaller bumps. It just feels a bit unsettled and not quite in keeping with that plush, luxurious vibe they've created elsewhere in the car.
Okay, let's talk money and where this car sits in the market. The pricing strategy, particularly in the UK, seemed quite deliberate.
Oh, very clever. The UK starting price for the entry-level Palace trim was announced at $36,995.
Just under 37 grand, which felt surprisingly sharp.
Totally. It seems strategically positioned right below that 37,000 pound mark, which at the time was relevant for potential EV grant eligibility, even though those grants were changing. It made it look like really strong value right from the get-go.
So it undercuts quite a few rivals then.
Significantly, especially when you factor in the standard equipment and that premium interior feel. Compare it to a similarly spec'd electric BMW or Mercedes equivalent.
So who is this car for? Why pick the DS 9.4 E-Tense over, say, a BMW 1 Series, an Audi A3, or even something like a VW ID.3? It's clearly not winning on pure range or ultimate sportiness.
No, it's playing a different game. It's about the value proposition, but defined differently. It's offering that tangible sense of prestige, the really distinct design, those high-end materials inside.
That Crayola brown Napa leather again.
Right. You get that kind of luxury feel at a price where the German brands might still be giving you, cloth seats and a more basic cabin.
So it's for the buyer who really values style, standing out, that sense of craftsmanship, someone who wants to be different.
I think that's exactly it. Someone who prioritizes feeling special and having something unique on their driveway over having the absolute longest range figure or the fastest 0-60 time.
I noticed one source mentioned Formula E software management being used. That sounds a bit like marketing fluff, but does it mean anything practical?
It's an interesting point. It likely refers to leveraging some of the know-how DS gained from their Formula E racing program, probably in terms of battery thermal management and energy efficiency algorithms.
So making the most of the battery charge it does have, ensuring that 230-mile real-world range is reliable.
Precisely. It suggests sophisticated software working behind the scenes to optimize performance and efficiency under different conditions. It's about maximizing what you get from the hardware. An unseen efficiency benefit, maybe.
Okay, so wrapping it up, the overall independent rating seemed to land around a 7 out of 10. Pretty respectable.
Yeah, solid score. The big plus points were consistently the bold design, both inside and out, that really plush cabin feel, and the feature-rich tech, especially that AR head-up display.
And the downsides?
Mainly that firm secondary ride we discussed, some of those fussy ergonomic choices like the small buttons, and the fact that the real-world range is just sort of average, middling.
But overall, it seems like it achieves what it set out to do. Be stylish, sophisticated, and noticeably different from the mainstream.
Absolutely. It succeeds in being a statement piece. #tag.
So the DS number 4 E-Tense, definitely a refreshingly different take on the electric hatchback. It feels like a welcome, antidote to some of the more generic EVs out there.
It really does stand out. And, that uniqueness seems to be its core strength, which makes you wonder, given how much DS is focusing on the unique styling, the luxury interior, the lifestyle tech like V2L, maybe the real battleground for premium EVs is shifting.
How so?
Well, perhaps it's less about just chasing those extra few miles of range on the spec sheet and more about selling a feeling, an experience, exclusivity, design, lifestyle integration. Maybe that's where brands like DS see the future fight rather than just pure battery metrics.
That's a really interesting thought. Something for you, the listener, to definitely mull over as this whole premium EV market keeps evolving. Is it about the numbers or the narrative?
Indeed.
Well, thank you for sharing all these fascinating sources with us. It's been great taking this deep dive into the French perspective on premium electric cars.
And thank you for sharing the material and joining in the conversation. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this analysis, definitely make sure you follow the channel so you don't miss out on our future deep dives into other interesting topics like this one.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.